Hello students, in this video we're going to learn how to calculate simple and compound interest. Do get ready a pen and some papers and practice along with me. Let's look at the difference between simple interest and compound interest. Let's look at simple interest first. Sam invests $2,000 for 3 years. He receives simple interest at 1.65% per year. How much is the investment worth at the end of 3 years? To calculate simple interest, this is the formula we will be using, PRT over 100. What does P represent? P represents the principal sum, which in this case here, it's $2,000. That is our P, the value for P. And what does R represent? R represents the rate. In this case here, it's 1.65%. And what does T represent? T represents the periods. And in this case here, it represents 3 over 100. And the simple interest that Sam would receive is $99. So therefore, the total investment value at the end of the 3 years would be the principal sum, that is $2,000, plus the interest, that's $99, and that comes up to be $2,099. So this is what happened if the rate given is simple interest. Now let's look at what happened if we are dealing with compound interest. Do you think you will still get the same answer? To calculate compound interest, first of all, we have to use the correct formula. So the formula to use here would be, and in this case here, the formula is used to calculate the total amount, which is different from what we have done earlier on. Earlier on, the formula PRT over 100, it's only used to calculate the simple interest. But here, the formula that I'm going to write down for you is to calculate the total amount, which means the total amount means the principal sum plus the interest. And the formula is P bracket 1 plus R over 100 to the power of N. And in this example here, P represents 2,000, R represents 1.65 over 100 to the power of 3. And the value we get will be 2100.64 cents. So if you were to compare the two values, we can see that the investment that is compounded, it's more than the investment that is only getting a simple interest. Let's look at this N-level questions. Mr. Liu invested some money for 1 year at 1.8% simple interest. The keywords here are simple interest. At the end of the year, it was worth 1272.50. How much did he invest? This amount, 1272.50, refers to principal sum and the simple interest. The principal sum is the amount of money that Liu invested. So that is the amount of money, the principal sum, that we need to find. So we're going to let the amount of money Liu invested to be X dollar. So 1272.50 represent X dollar plus the interest. And how do we calculate the interest? Yes, the formula is PRT over 100. So P represent X. The rate is 1.8%. Mr. Liu invested for 1 year. So the value for T will be 1 over 100. This is what it means. And we can use the calculator to evaluate this. Of course, we can't evaluate the X, sorry. We can use the calculator to evaluate this to get $0.018. So that will be X times 0.018. And if you're wondering, how are you going to simplify that? You see that X is a common factor here, where you can extract it out. And you will have 1 here, because X times 1 will give you X. Plus, if you take out your X here, you're left with 0.018. So using the calculator again, 0.018 plus 1 will gives you 1.018 times X. So that will be 1.018X. And that amount is equals to 1272.50. So to find the values of X, what do we do? Yes, we divide by 1.018 on both sides. And from there, I can find the principal sum to be $1,250. Right, let's look at the next question. This is also a N-level examination questions. We have Haifa invest $6,000 in an account that earns compound interest at 3.2% per year. How many years will it take until the total amount in the account that is more than $7,000? The keywords to look up for are these two words, compound interest. Therefore, we have to use the correct formula. And the formula we'll be using is this: total amount equals to P bracket 1 plus r over 100 to the power of n. P represent the principal sum here, which is 6,000. R represent the rate, which is 3.2 to the power of n. N represent this number of years that we need to calculate, which we do not know. If you were to look at this expression, you can see that we can use the calculator to evaluate the value, and that gives us 129 over 125 to the power of n. So this total amount, we want it to be more than 7,000. Right. We're going to divide both sides by 6,000. And since we are dividing it with a positive value, you don't have to worry about the inequality sign. It remains the same. You only flip the inequality sign when you multiply both sides by a negative value. So how do we find the values of n? So this is the tricky part. We need to do this thing called the trial and error method. So we're going to let n equals to 1. And let's see what happened. If n is equals to 1, 129 over 125 to the power of 1 will give me 1.032. Let's express 7 divided by 6 as a decimal number, so it's easier to do a comparison. So 1.032, obviously, it's not more than 1.167. So n equals to 1 is not the answer that we are interested in. So let's continue. Let n equals to 2. And I get 1.156, which again is still smaller than 1.167. So let's continue. We get 1.124. Right. So 1.24, sorry, is 1. Oh, wait, I make a mistake here in my calculation. 1.099. Wait, did I do wrongly in the first part? 1.06. Oh, this is 1.065, sorry. Have to be careful with the calculation. 1.065. And that it's 1.099. So let's continue. $1.134. Okay, so we can see from here that n equals to 4 give us 1.134, which clearly it's bigger than 1.1, still less than. Sorry, still have to continue. So let n equals to 5. 1.17. Ah, okay. So now we are at it. So we can see that 1.17 is clearly bigger than 1.167. So therefore, it will take 5 years. It will take 5 years. Therefore, it will take 5 years for the investment to be more than 7,000. All right, so this ends the video. So happy learning.